Thank you all for tuning in. This is As Deep as It Gets, and I'm your host, DPasz. Go deep! Hey everybody, Dean here. Just, checking in and saying hey. Haven't put anything out this week, and, I'm just gonna be real with you guys. Sort of having a little bit of a hard week, and I don't want to sit here and give you some BS and come on here and, act like everything's going great, because things don't always go great. I'm sort of struggling to even get my bags packed to go on a trip to see my friends, and it's sort of sad because, I don't really have too much going on right now, and I can't even do that. So, this is me right now. Bags half packed, supposed to leave for Pittsburgh here in, 4-5 hours, leaving in the morning to miss traffic, and I don't know, I feel sort of stuck. I don't know if it's depression, but, I'd rather show up here for you guys as myself rather than, fake it and put on a smile and act like everything's okay. So, it's just one of those days, guys, and I just want to be real with you, but maybe me, stopping in here and talking to you guys will help me feel better, and that's sort of what I'm hoping, if I'm being honest. I'm hoping that me getting some things off my chest and just talking to you guys will make me feel better, because, there's been a lot going on recently, and, this whole thing, this middle of all this that I'm feeling, I'm, thinking about loss. There's this Charlie Kirk thing, and, that's been a really stunning thing to see people bicker about online. And if I'm being honest, when people were talking about it, I had heard the name Charlie Kirk. I couldn't actually put a face to who he was until I seen some of the clips, and then I instantly recognized him. And yeah, man, it's absolutely terrible. That there's children and his wife and people mourning his loss, and people are just talking about it on the internet as if it's like nothing. It's really disgusting to me in a lot of ways, but he was a political figure, and anytime you're a political figure, people are going to have stances about you. So I also, try to remember that when people, take their stance one way or the other. But, loss and grief isn't something that should, divide us. It's something that should bring us together. So I think what I really want people to start seeing is, and a lot of Charlie Kirk's friends like Tucker Carlson and the likes of those people are kind of speaking out against and standing up for some things that, maybe to make the world a little bit better place, maybe not being so controlled by the powers that be, if you will. And what I'm trying to say is we should be looking at why this happened and who orchestrated it. And I don't think it was the left. I don't think it was the right. I think there was something bigger at play here. And those are the questions we should be asking, if you ask me. And it's a very scary world, guys. It scares the heck out of me, Certainly, looking at all of these crazy things that are happening, these political stances this way and that way, we all need to try to work together to become better citizens in a better community as a whole. I mean, we shouldn't be hating our neighbors ever. We should be trying to work with our neighbors and work with one another so everyone has a better quality of life. And that's as a whole for everyone. And now I understand people will always get left behind. There's always going to be winners and there's always going to be losers. That's a fact of life. But there doesn't have to be distinctly that. We can try to help one another up, and it's a hand up, not a hand out. You can lift another person up without, in many ways. It doesn't have to be financially, just even a compliment. There's so many things that we can do as people to help one another and be kind to one another and spread positivity that we just don't hit on all the time. And I'm guilty as well. I don't want to sit here and like make you guys think that I'm a saint or anything by any means, because I'm no saint. I just I have been trying to take the opportunity to be a good person when I can be and try to make the right choice. So I am practicing a little bit of what I preach, but by all means, I still have tons of room to improve. But anyway, guys, we need community. We need community. That's my point. And before I, get any deeper into any other subject, I want to take a second to say something really important. My best friend Taylor Brown, TB, TMFB, as he knows, and his wife Audrey just welcomed a new baby into the world, a little girl, Elena Eve Brown, and I just want to congratulate him as her joining the family, and Harper Joe, their daughter, and man, TB, he's like a brother to me, and seeing him sort of take this next step into fatherhood, raising these amazing girls with Audrey, I'm so excited for him, and it makes my heart full. And so congratulations to the Brown. Elena Eve, welcome to the world. I love you, TB. That was for you. You're the best. And man, when it comes to me, I got a lot of things changing, coming up. So this week's just, that must be why I'm so down, honestly. Because, well, I don't want you guys to think I'm too down, but I'm just a little down. I'll bounce back. I usually do. It's just been a little bit hard, and this week's going to be a sort of a big season of change for me. I have my mentee, Jayden, my intern, moving out. He's leaving. That's going to hurt a little bit. Mentoring sort of gave me a little bit of a purpose, and now I'm asking myself, how do I sort of keep my motivation and my momentum going when he's gone? And then I have my roommate, Josh. He's moving out. I'm going to miss him, and that's going to hurt too, because the house is going to be empty once he's gone. And I'm going to miss his dog, Duke. That guy, he's a good guy. He brought me a lot of joy into my daily routine, and I appreciate having him here and taking care of him without even me realizing it. It's given me a lot of purpose, and it's funny how you only see like all these things just as they're about to, kind of fade off into the distance on how much they mean to you. I mean, of course I've given this, I've been thinking about it, but now it's finally here, and it stings a bit, it's hard. Loss, loss is something that we all deal with, and there's seasons of life, and they come and they go, and the main thing is, I think, is to just keep on keeping on. Little Joe Dirt. Life's a garden, dig it. Anyways, guys, so this weekend, I'm gonna get away for a little bit. I'm gonna go to Pittsburgh, and I'm gonna spend some time with my best friends. I'm gonna be with Colby and Dylan and Jake Ray and Mason, and we're all gonna go to a Pirates game together and celebrate Patrick. This is his birthday weekend coming up, and we all loved him so much, and it's going to be a good weekend together with friends. I can't wait to just catch up, and I'm hoping this really boosts my spirits back into a better place. Not that they've been in a super bad place. Like I said, guys, I don't want you to think. I'm a strong believer, and you can ask any of my friends. No matter what you're going through, there's somebody going through something worse. So just know that I know that there's, I don't have it all that bad. I'm really happy too. And doing this makes me happy, and talking to you guys makes me happy. So I'm going to continue to do that to those that'll listen. And it's just, it's important, to say how we feel and talk about the things that we feel necessary. And And maybe that's what was keeping me down. Maybe I haven't really had an outlet to just express myself lately, and I've sort of been missing that. And with all these things changing, um, I just think that it's it's time that we really step into ourselves even a little bit more with Jayden leaving and you know Josh moving out and all of these things changing. I sort of just am gonna try and embrace the loneliness a little bit even more and focus in on myself even more because I don't really know what else I'm supposed to do. Um, I'm obviously gonna keep working at the podcast. Um, my friends who I'm going to see, I hope I can get one of them on the podcast this weekend to have some content coming up. We have some other guests coming up that I haven't even got to. I know we're having Brant Sawyers. For those of you who know him, he's going to be a good talk and a good interview. We're going to try and get that done sometime late September, early October. And then I have Chris Murphy coming up. He's coming on to share his story and his thoughts. I'm excited for that. And I can link both their their usernames in the description or something if you want to get more on them before they're on. But I'm excited for both those conversations, and I'm excited for more conversations coming up. That's another thing I sort of wanted to talk about is as I make these podcasts, I want you guys to like one of my favorite things about making them is the interaction with you guys and see what you guys think, what you guys like, what you don't like. And I'll take into consideration everything you guys say, but there's like no guarantee that I use any of it. But I will take it into consideration. So I appreciate any and all feedback, even the criticism, because I don't know, that criticism's good too. It's good for you if you can grow from it, if you can learn things from it. Now, if it's just people being mean, like I don't like that, so probably block you or something. But try not to hurt feelings. But if you're being constructively critical, that can be helpful too. Um, so I'm open to all that and ideas, and if anyone wants to be on, like I said, I'm hoping to get my first sponsor soon. There's a couple people, friends that I want to reach out to. I know I've promoted Brandon in the past. I've promoted Craig now, once on the pod. These free ads, it's fine. I don't think I don't know how much I've spread anybody's business, but they're my friends, so I hope they're telling people about my podcast. I obviously want to tell people about their businesses. That's important to me. And either way, so when I get back from this weekend with my friends, I'm gonna try and get my life a little bit back on track. No guarantees, but we're gonna try to get it a little back on track. We'll see what happens with that. Like I said, I'm not making any promises, but I will, try to give you an update next week of what's going on, and you know, so it's not all heavy, guys. It's not all heavy. It's not all bad. Let me share a little bit of a story about my past couple nights. Give me 1 second. Let me take a gulp here. So the other night, I don't know if you guys follow or how often you guys watch, if you just watch the solos, but in episode 5, I told the story about Craig the barber and going into his shop, and I'm pretty sure I told that with Scotty, and his last name is my first and middle name. There was just this really odd occurrence. His name's Craig D. Anthony, Dean, Anthony, and my name's Dean Anthony. And either way, we met up and he asked me if I knew anyone who liked to play and sing country music, and just so happens that my best friend Scotty likes to sing and play country music, so there was this really odd like occurrence, and then we exchanged cards or whatever, and we had the same name, and it was cool or whatever. Well, we finally followed up on that, is my point, is where I'm trying to get to. And the other day, me and Scotty hit up the barbershop, and Craig, the owner, had us writing songs right in the barbershop. We were strumming guitars, and I mean, I wasn't playing no guitar, but I was singing with everything that I had, and Scotty was playing his guitar, and Craig was popping ideas in our heads. What if we do this? What if we do that? And the whole thing was really wholesome and, no plan, no script. There were just vibes flowing, and we were there pretty late, and the whole experience was actually pretty awesome. And we're gonna do it again. And we actually finished one full song. Um, I guess I could play you guys a snippet of that, but I mean, I might hold that back. If you guys want to hear the song, maybe leave a comment. That'd be cool. If enough people leave the song, maybe we'll put out. If enough people leave a comment, maybe we'll put out the song. See how many people who are actually listening here. Again, we wrote it. It was actually it's actually we like it. I don't know. Obviously, we like it. We don't know if it's any good. It's a trial and error thing, the songwriting, and we're gonna expand on that some more as we go forward. That was really fun though. I had a blast. It's something I can totally see us doing again, and there's more to come on that. What we end up doing with that was a lot of fun meeting with Craig, and I just want to shout him out again in his barbershop. It's over there on North High Street. Go check him out. It He's a great guy, man. And so yeah, that was a big like nice thing I seen like with community. We're going back there to write more, and there's nothing like, this next time we're bringing a guitarist. There's nothing like a bunch of friends sitting around in a barbershop after it's closed just jamming. Trust me. The acoustics in there were amazing. It was a blast. And I can't wait to do it again. So that was the exciting thing that happened this week. And it wasn't all bad. So I will say that. I've been riding my bike some more over there on the Olentangy Trail too, and I've been went on went and got some ice cream this weekend or this week too. So I mean, it's been a good it's been a good week, but there's just some little. I feel like something's off. And I think we as humans, sometimes we deal with these things where we just don't, it's hard to bring it every single day. I wish I was Dean Goggins. I'm not. I tried to be. I try to be. Sometimes I just don't. Sometimes you want it to be there and you just don't have it. And it's like, those are the days you need to be the most disciplined. I mean, I still got out today and played basketball. And shout out to Jayden. I'll give him his props. He got me in a game. He got me in a game. He won a game. It was tied up. He hit the three. He won. So good for him. I'm happy for him. He deserved to win. We tied up on the day though, but still, it's all good. Yeah, and I don't know that I'm gonna be able to see him before I get back, but when I dropped him off today, I told him to remember, try to remember all the stuff I told you, brother. You've been great help to me, and I'm hoping I'm able to even put this out there before before after, like, you're gonna leave, and I mean, I got the last one out there sort of, but I hope I'm even able to produce this without you. So hopefully you see this. But anyway, man, when I get back from Pittsburgh, I'm gonna try and come back, have a reset, come back focused, creative, keep my mind like in a really good place is my goal. But we'll see what happens. That's all I can do is just hope for the best. Anyway, it's my time to get back on track. So, also, speaking of which, I actually did have some people write in a little bit. So I've had a couple people ask some questions, and I'm actually going to answer them today. And that's another thing I wanted to emphasize. I think I got lost on a tangent there. I am going to read some Q&As today, like right now, and I want you guys to continue writing in, because since the podcast started in a month, this is like pretty much all the questions I got, and there's a couple good ones. So I found, I mean, there was like, I think I've got like 4 questions, and I picked like 3 of them. So here we go. What's something about growing up in a small town People from bigger cities just don't understand. Um, I think mainly it's like the little small things. It's the rusty gas pumps. It's the walking into a pizza shop or a pub and everybody just knowing your name and knowing who you are. It's Friday night lights. It's walking the streets after the whole town shut down. It's it's the feeling of belonging, even in the smallest ways. So I think that's the best part of being from or living in a small town is that you always know you can go to a place where everybody's gonna know who you are and care about you. Or maybe not care about you. Who knows? But they'll still know who you are. So care about you in some way. Care about you enough to know who you are. So um I think that's it. Um so another question we got. What's a high school memory that still cracks you up? Um this one's a little bit funny one. I can tell this story because it's just a goof. I mean, I can tell all my stories. But this is just a goofy one. When we were in high school, we used to hide near these wrestling mats. There was this room, and for some reason, it just had stacked wrestling mats in it, and it was off of like the shop room. It's like the trophy case room, and we would hide in this room on top of these mats, and we would all just laugh. And sometimes, sometimes there'd be, sometimes the girls would come too. Sometimes it was just like a gathering spot, and it was really odd. And the teachers didn't know where we were or where to find us. And I think eventually Mr. Fry caught us. I actually really hope to have Jeff Fry on here. I think that would be that's a goal of mine. Um, so anyway, either way, Mr. Fry I think eventually caught on, but us sneaking into that room and hiding, I thought is a very funny high school memory. And then there's another one where we would sneak down into the boiler room. And what we were doing in the boiler room, I have entirely no idea. But we weren't even smoking cigarettes or nothing down there. We were just going down there to like explore the random dungeons of the school, and just stupid stuff. And I think one time there was like six of us down there, and I mean I've been in the office some, but that was usually because usually because of my mouth toward the teacher sometimes, and I that was the only reason I really ever got in trouble. Um, I regret that most of it. And anyway, well, I was such a polite young man too. I think just I could get triggered, couldn't I? I don't even know who that is when I think about how angry I was at the world then. Just even in high school, what was I so mad about? Well, I guess I had a lot of reasons to be mad, to be fair to me then. But if somebody could have just I think a lot of people tried to get through to me. Um I wish sometimes I would have listened better, but hindsight, what they say. Wow, but yeah, the boiler room hanging out. It didn't mean to go on such a tangent there. Sorry. Either way, one more high school memory while we're on the subject is I don't know who it was, but I'll never forget this day. I'm not even gonna name a culprit. Um, we were up at the football field getting ready for practice or something or another or a game, and somebody snuck into the press box and started announcing on the press box, screaming, "To the 10, to the 5, touchdown!" And to this day, I don't remember who was quite up there, but I remember I was on the field running the ball, and I think Dylan Merriman was tackling me, and the laughter of everyone. Um, yeah, that day was fun. That's a high school memory that makes me smile a bunch when I think about screaming in the press box, and I'm pretty sure we got in a lot of trouble and paid for that. Um, if I recall correctly, I think that's probably why there's signs about trespassing and things. I don't know. Either way, it that's a good memory. And okay, what else do we got? Both those crack me up. Do you think the community Shady Side feels different now than it did when you grew up? A little bit. Um, and it's a little bit concerning. The last time I was home, and to each their own. COVID must have like it's convenient was closed at like 9, freaked me out. But the community seems a little dry lately, which isn't. I don't love that. Uh, I feel like the community's better when it's thriving, but it's that winter time. Our community's so good, so I'm not talking crap on it. I I just wish I seen more kids outside playing, but I know they are. Everyone's probably got their own private courts, and I know the kids are playing. So I'm not too worried about our community because I know we got a lot of good youngsters coming up in the ranks because they're all my friends and loved ones of Shady Side's kids, and I know we got some good community coming up. So I'm not really stressing it too much right now because I know the kids are playing, so I know the kids are outside, so I'm not too worried about that. But it it might be a little softer than it was back then, um, a little bit. Uh, but I think that just comes with the times, you know. Um, Nothing wrong with that. That's good. That means the kids are living a better life. That means the community's growing. If everyone's a little more at ease, then that's probably a net positive, right? Times aren't as tough. The streets aren't as gritty in Shady Side anymore. That's a good thing. Our community's growing. It's a tough place to grow up, that Shady Side. um. Anyway, uh, so before I wrap up for today, I actually, speaking of Shady Side, I wanted to say something, and want to give some love toward back home and a member of the community back home. A man I know is running for a city councilman. His name is Bobby Doris Jr., and you should write him in when it comes up election time. I fully endorse him. I hope this doesn't hurt his campaign, me endorsing him. I hope not. I hope anyone who hears this or listens to this will consider writing in Bobby Doris Jr. For councilman come time. It's time for you guys to vote because he's a great man. I was friends with his son growing up at Shady Side, and he's always been very hospitable to me. As a kid in the neighborhood, and just being there for me growing up too. And I took his daughter to prom. He's a great guy, and yeah, I endorse him for being a city councilman in Shady Side. I'd like to see some pickleball courts go up down there too. So definitely write him in, and big shout out to Bobby Doris Jr. I think he'd be a great thing for the village of Shady Side, and you know a guy who's already initiated a lot of change and done stuff for the community. So you always want to see those people considered when it comes time for to get back on the board, no matter if they are written in or not. I think there's an extra step, but I'm sure he'll have no problem, and he's definitely a great guy and probably the right guy for the job. So I endorse him. And all right, guys, I just wanted to show you one thing that I got here, and it's just a little video. I kind of someone reached out and said that I should start doing reaction videos, and I don't know. I guess we're just gonna try one. I don't I don't quite know how it'll go, but I just wanted you guys to see this too. Just sort of talking about division and how they do like to divide us. So here we go.
Harvey, you know who that is?
Sure.
So he did a thing, God, back in the 60s or 70s, and he equated it to the devil. But he did a radio piece on how to destroy America, the social fabric of it.
Wow.
And it's as though somebody just took America, the social fabric of America from the late 60s to today. And the timeline of the things that he said. It's pretty wicked. It's pretty powerful.
Wow.
If I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills.
Wow.
If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Wow. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door.
Holy shit.
Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
What year was that?
It was 65, but...
Holy shit.
1965.
That's amazing. 65. Wow. April 3rd, 1965. Paul Harvey nailed it.
Paul Harvey, you know who that is?
Sure.
So he did a thing, God, back in the 60s or 70s, and he equated it to the devil. But he did a radio piece on how to destroy America, the social fabric of it.
Wow.
And it's as the...
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, that's how they're destroying America, guys. They want us at odds with one another, if you haven't figured that out. And I just wanted you guys to hear that because I seen that clip earlier and I was just like, wow, I just sort of want to show that on the podcast. If you go back and rewind and listen to that, that's exactly what they did and how they are destroying America. They want us at division, everyone. Anybody and everybody who's listening to this. They want us divided. They don't want us working as a cohesive unit towards a better society. Don't you think we would have gotten there by now? If that was really the goal. I mean, people achieve goals every day. 4-minute mile. People are always pressing the issue, always doing better. You don't think we could have gotten it figured out by now? You think there's just always one subject that we always have to be divided about? You guys need to use your brains a little bit and think that, not that you guys don't, but think a little more deep. They want us at odds with one another. They don't want the communities working together. They don't want, the worst thing that could happen is all of us who aren't in power, all of us regular citizens, get together as one party with the same or similar. If we came to an agreement, and created one party that this is the right way, then what would they do? No one ever thinks of that. Put the power back in the people's hands. Things go on very shady. I'm not calling for anarchy, and I'm not calling for revolt. I'm not calling for rioting in the streets. I'm calling for a sensible revolution, truly. And that's what I'd like to see. I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime. It definitely should. I mean, I don't know that I can lead it. Maybe with some help. But, then you subject yourself to what just happened? Charlie Kirk was just assassinated for his views. If you really put your views out there and you build a following, then yeah, somebody might come get you. And it's terrible. But we the people need to see that there is a bigger issue at hand here. And I think that's important, man. Silence is easy, but togetherness, that's the only thing that's going to save us all. Togetherness. And, this podcast wasn't perfect. It's not polished, I'm figuring out everything. My life, my job. But I'm packing a bag right now and I'm heading to Pittsburgh with my friends. But I'm showing up as real as I can and I'm being as deep as I can get. So what I keep learning and going on here is, life matters, family matters, community matters, you matter. Don't forget that. And I appreciate you and everyone listening in. And if something I said today hits you in a way or at all, share it, clip it, post it, text it to someone who needs to hear it. Just, the more you guys promote my content, the better, the better chance I have at a clip going viral or getting a sponsorship or something or another, or maybe making my, my dream of one day monetizing this thing a reality. So, just know I love you guys and I appreciate more than anything you all listening in. And, I will give you an update on how Pittsburgh went and my life once I get back from there. Hopefully I can get a few podcasts in the Valley done while I'm there. And I really just want to let you guys know how much I love you guys and I appreciate you guys listening in. We'll see you Wednesday. Thanks.